want to welcome you all to the second Future of Finance Summit. I'm here to run some activity for the year 2021. 2021 has been a great year for CGIA. We've already had one online webinar for members. In February, we had a workshop that was really organized for them. In March, we did Global Finance and Investment Re-Celebration with a critical agenda, putting investors first. And we are here today to dive into the second Future of Finance Summit. For CGIA to continue to produce top leaders to solve the problems of the world, we have put in place a mechanism through our quarterly continuous professional development programs. On the 10th of April, we undertook the first one, which was on financial statement analysis. And on the 26th of June, next month, there will be a CPD on anti-money laundering. And on 25th of September, we will do one on liquidity and asset liability management. In November 27th, we will do our last one on international finance. Other key programs for the year are as follows. We'll be having the third Ghana Finance and Investment Summit in August. We are going to have the Charter Awards and Dinner in October 2021. The Women in Finance and Investment Week also comes off in December 2021. We are going to also have webinars and from time to time. We want to encourage all members and charter holders and candidates to patronize our activities. Thank you very much for the time. Over to you, Gifty.
All right, thank you very much, Emmanuel Amfosaki. That was the chairperson for the membership committee of the CGI Network Ghana. Once again, thank you. So I would now introduce the moderator for today.
Can actually make businesses grow. So since then I realized is an exciting part of business. So I want to pursue this and make it my life career. Yes, Hello, everyone. My name is Jennifer Kwakwa-Sapon. I'm a CGIA candidate and I work at Carl Asset Management. I've always wanted to grow businesses, and knowing that business thrive on its finances, I realized that finance needs to be managed well, and the best way to do it is to know the introspects of it, and hence investment analyst plays a key role in it. In the next 5 years, I want to work in a renowned investment management firm like Goldman Sachs, as it is recorded as one of the best investment banking firms in the world. And in the next 10 years, I want to have an investment firm that could compete with Goldman Sachs. CGIA content is informing me about a lot of things with investments, and I see it making my work very easier in my current asset management company, and yet I know it's going to open many more doors for me in the future. So I had my background in studying in school as business administration student, and I studied finance. And finance had its aspects of also investment and portfolio management. And with that, I began to get an interest in actually knowing how investments can actually make businesses grow. So since then I realized it's an exciting part of business. So I want to pursue this and make it my life career. Yes, I would recommend CGI program to all staff of brokerage firms, asset management firms, investment bankers, because it opens your mind and helps you to know more than you actually think you do. And it helps you to be able to manage the markets and make the best out of it. My name is Jennifer Kwakwa-Sapon. I'm a CGI candidate in Ghana, and I recommend CGI to you.
Okay, so that was Jennifer Kwakwa-Sapon recommending CGIA to all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, your moderator for today, Jennifer Sapon.
Hi, everyone. Have a good evening. I'm really, I guess I'm honored to have a throwback. That was like 2 years ago. So welcome again to the second summit of the future of finance, and on the theme, reimagining the financial institutions of the future. So we're having a keynote speech and also a panel discussion to address the strengths, the opportunities, the weaknesses, and the threats of the finance, since it is a very crucial part of our business world today. So I'd like to start with introducing our keynote speaker. That is Mrs. Hestalina Otu-Osafo. She is an associate of the Chartered Institute of Bankers, and she's also a charter holder of the CGIA Institute. She is a self-motivated and assertive professional lady who is committed to providing the highest possible standards in all her endeavors. She is a professional banker with 15 years experience in operations and customer and control. She is highly trainable and adapts easily to any environment she finds herself in. Mrs. Estelina is a mother of 4 and currently undertaking a professional program with the Digital Frontiers Institute, leading to the award of the Certified Digital Finance Practitioner, jointly awarded with the Tufts University in the USA. So please let's welcome her to give us the keynote speech.
Thank you very much, Jennifer, and good evening to all. 1 minute, please. I want to share my screen.
Yes, please.
Okay, so we're going to have a discussion this evening on the reimagining the financial institution of the future, the mega trends that will change financial services, as Jennifer read out. And the outline for our discussion is going to flow in this way. We have a brief discussion on the background, what the future of finance is, some emerging technologies that are driving the future of finance, and how we are going to re-image the future of finance, and some perceived challenges that we anticipate to go through in this journey. So we are seeing that there are lots of changes happening around the globe, but for the purpose of this session that we're having now, our focus would be on our domestic setting, or would be the case of Ghana. And the current state of our financial system is such that most institutions were, before COVID, thinking around how to embark on digital transformation or move their operations within the financial service sector from their manual input to a more digitized environment. But then COVID reared its head, and organizations or financial institutions were faced with a challenge with either buy in, innovate, and remain in business, or to back off. So what we are saying is that the emergence of COVID in the year last year made most financial institutions to innovate or to die. So they were left with two options: either you innovate and stay in operations, or you die. And looking at what COVID brought into the financial sector last year, there are only two options, like I said: either firms or institutions innovate or they die. And looking at the extent of innovation that came in last year, we all would have to believe that the future now of finance is to go full digital with little or no human intervention. It will be difficult to be without human intervention though, but we believe that for full digital, it is a must, and we'll have some little human touch to it. We look at some emerging trends that are driving digital transformation in our financial institutions or our financial sector. First to consider on the list is the technological advancements that changed the way of doing business. We've had now banks or financial service providers or financial institutions engaging in open banking. One may ask what open banking is. Open banking is where banks or financial institutions allow or open their application interfaces for other third parties to integrate and have access to their customer information or their financial information. And based on the access they have, they are able to develop custom-made services or products that meet the changing needs of their customers. We all know now customers want to enjoy convenience. And before we'll be able to develop such services to meet their needs, there is the need for some third parties to integrate into the banks or the financial institutions' software or application interfaces in order for them to pick some information or data, and based upon that, try to model services or products to suit those needs. We also have the use of chatbots or artificial intelligence, and mainly it has to do with chatbots or virtual agents. One could ask what a chatbot is. Just as we have robots performing functions in other institutions or corporations or other areas, for us in the financial service industry, we also have chatbots acting as agents who sit in, especially in our call centers, our customer service lines. There are times you call deep in the night because of, we are now in a global village. So you'll be in Ghana, but you'll be doing business with people outside of Ghana. And at any point in time when the person needs assistance, the person should be able to talk to someone or should be able to log his or her complaint and get it resolved. And this we mainly do through the use of chatbots. So you log on to a financial institution's platform, you log your issue or your complaint, and you have a robot or a chatbot attending to you. To you, you think it is a human intervention or it's someone seated there who is dealing with you. But at the end of it, it's a system that has been built for them to attend to your queries and issues. We also have the practice where some institutions use virtual agents, which for us in Ghana, some institutions like I think StanChart, years ago, they had agents who sit in different parts of the world. We had people in other African countries or other European countries who were manning their call centers. So you place a call thinking you are speaking to someone in Ghana who is attending to you, but the person is not here in Ghana. Those services were outsourced to third parties or to their agents who were not here in person. Now we also have the use of technology, that is biometrics. Hitherto, we all had to go to our financial service providers for them to identify us in person. Now that has changed. And you don't have to always go there to be verified in person. Instead, we use biometrics for verification and also for validation. We also have blockchain and cryptocurrencies, but these are not common in Ghana because as we speak, crypto is not legal or it has not been approved by our regulator yet, but we have it functioning properly in other parts of the world. And when we talk about the blockchain technology, that is a technology where it acts like a digital ledger. So instead of financial institutions keeping their manual records or having their records on just one PC or one server, with the blockchain technology, it keeps all the records or transactions in a digital form, like a digital ledger, which is saved across the network. And it doesn't usually stay just within that organization. Once you are on that platform and you are authorized, you have access to it. And it is very difficult for hackers to break into the system to steal information, unlike as compared to other systems that we have. We would all agree that fintechs now is a must for us in Ghana. And the growth in fintechs and its activity is also changing the face of financial institutions or the provision of financial services. Now we have fintechs going all out, which is also shaping the future of our financial institution in Ghana. Hitherto, before one could access credit, you have to go to your financial institution or bank or service provider, pick an application form, complete it manually, submit it for vetting, for verification. It will go through all the manual processes before you have access to your credit facilities. But now that has changed. Most banks are also trying to develop themselves to give digital lending as these fintechs do. So when we talk about fintechs in this digital lending space, world over, there is a company, Kabaj, that is known as a global giant. And when we come to our domestic setting, the case of Ghana, we have companies like Fido and Jumo, who are fintechs into this digital lending. And they basically use information that they have online or the transactional data of customers. They use just the transactional data to do a quick lending appraisal based on which they are able to take a quick lending decision within the shortest possible time, as compared to the manual way where people would have to take their forms to the branches or the banks. It will move from one desk to the other. It will wait for another person to come and validate, to verify, to perform your credit appraisal, and to check your 7Cs and all others. Now they have developed a technology that they use in appraising all this in real time within the shortest possible time. And then you have access to your loan. So for those of us on this call who have one way or the other applied for the MTN Express loan, MTN Quick Loan, and the rest, it is Jumo who is the brain power behind those loans. And they use these digital lending appraisal systems that they have to assess and also to grant the loans. Then we look also at the emergence of some non-bank financial institutions. It has become the norm, and we must, as players in the financial setup, accept it as it is, that for NBFIs, the non-bank financial institutions, they've come to stay. An example is the telco. We now have telcos venturing into savings, and they do this through their mobile money wallets, the rollout of wallets to customers, such that before, when you talk about financial inclusion, people not within the capital or district capitals or in the villages were financially excluded in the financial sector ecosystem. But now, because of the emergence of these non-bank financial institutions like the telcos and their wallets, people as far back in our remotest villages who were hitherto financially excluded are now able to access financial assistance and also services through the wallets. And world over, the number one account now leading are mobile money wallets. You go to our villages, even where there are no brick and mortar banks there are no kiosk or any setup to kind of sell to them financial services. But you find these people in our farmlands, in our cottages, having mobile wallets and transacting very actively on it. So in a way, these NBFIs has also brought digital transformation to our colleagues in the villages. And this has helped us also to widen our scope and also to increase the financial inclusion coverage. Then we come to the shift in strategic focus for management of corporations and or institutions in the financial services. Before, most work in the financial services, as I've mentioned earlier, were basically manual based. Then it's transformed to a different level where we introduce computers. It keeps transforming, and now it has gotten to a stage where even management or managers of or decision-making directors of financial institutions and players in the financial service sector are always thinking about how to go digital. They are now dropping the manual mentality or having people to do things the manual way, because they have noticed that in doing things the manual way, it is so much cost, it wastes a lot of time, and they are not able to innovate to meet the needs of the customers. So now we have most institutions going digital, to the extent that some banks are even partnering startups to deliver solutions. But all of us on this call know that hitherto customers would have to come to banks, apply for loans or services or assistance, and you'll be told that, oh, this is what we have. Once you don't fall within that bracket, that's the end of story. You are not able to access the required funds or assistance for you to meet your operational needs, for you to stock up for the SMEs and the rest to stock up and also to do business. But following this digitization agenda, you have banks going to the shops, going to people, having stakeholder engagement, asking them, what are your needs? What can we do to meet the needs that you have? And based on that, they sit and they develop programs and also papers based on which they are able to churn out products for their customers which meet their needs. So we are saying that these are some of the drivers in the digital transformation agenda in our financial services sector. We also look at our socio-cultural life. As we sit here, most of us have joined this call on our phones. And now we all live our life on social media. Not to say that you put your entire life on social media, but you have an aspect on your life that is being driven by social media. And because we have access to data, we have access to internet, it has made customers more demanding for specific products that will suit their needs. Now, customers do not want to go through the stress of going out to check whatever is on the shelves of financial service providers or banks. Customers now want convenience. So they sit in the comfort of their homes to buy into services of banks, which they can do on their phone. And once we are all living our lives on phone, it becomes more easier for financial service providers and banks to develop products that will be tailored to the needs of this social setting or these customers who are always on phone. So as you can see, for most banks, now most banks in Ghana or all banks are on this e-space. Most other financial institutions, when COVID came, you notice that even insurers were asking you, do not come to us to even pay your premiums. They made available opportunities for people to pay their premiums in the comfort of their homes, because they noticed that in the era of COVID, if you don't put in a stopgap, you lose out of the market. Also, as I said, once there is COVID and there is no certainty about when COVID is going to leave us, it is about time that people also think out aloud and try to develop processes or systems and products and services that will meet the needs of their customers. So we noticed that when COVID came, people didn't know when the situation was going to normalize. And even as we speak, we don't know when it will normalize, because today we think the figures are dropping and tomorrow there will be a spike in the figure. So now most institutions and corporations are also trying as much as possible to develop products or services with the impact of COVID in mind, that yes, we wanted to go digital, but it was at a slower pace, assuming they had as part of their corporate strategy to use 5 years to get there. Because of COVID, they had to fast track it and do things within 2 years, some within 1 year. Also, when we look at our regulatory environment, it has helped in shaping the future of our financial services industry. Why do I say that? But for the successful rollout of government policies and that of the regulator in promoting our fiscal economy, it would have been difficult for institutions to buy into this e-products and also to move with it. Even now, as we speak, we have a unit in our regulator's office, the Bank of Ghana's office, that's the Fintech office. Years back, it wasn't there. Look at the use of Ghana Card and how institutions or the government is using it to drive financial inclusion, to the extent that now we are phasing out our tax identification number and using our card, our Ghana Card, as a means or as our tax ID. You look at some other regulations that have been implemented in support of this digital transformation in the financial service sector. You look at our Cybersecurity Act, you look at our Data Protection Act, you look at this GHQR, the Ghana, the QR code that has been launched. You look at our Payment Systems and Services Act, which governs the issuance of e-money. All these are things that the regulator and the government is doing in support of the environment in which we find ourselves now. Without this, it will be very difficult for financial service providers and institutions to also go all out to develop products and services to meet the needs of our customers. We are saying that in reimagining the future of finance, the financial institution, we foresee that for financial institutions to remain competitive, to remain operational, and to also be in business, they need to go fully digital. All financial institutions, irrespective of where you find yourself in the financial services ecosystem, must, as much as possible, try to go full digital. Even if you have a little human intervention, fine, but digital is a must for us all. And also, we should be customer-oriented in churning out our products. We shouldn't develop products with just the future of the bank or the financial institution, the insurance company, the future of the pensions or the savings company in mind. But look at your customer. What are the needs of your customer? Try to develop products, innovative products that will meet the needs of your target customers. And that is the only way they can stay in business and also be competitive. What happens when we have all decided to go digital? We are all designing products that are very innovative, that are customer-oriented, but our staff are not up to task. Then there will be a gap in service delivery. And this will not help us to attain the future that we desire of our financial services sector. So what we are saying here is that there should be constant upgrade and retraining of employees for them to be abreast in happenings in their space. When COVID reared its head, most organizations had to switch to electronic meetings, as we are doing now. But for COVID, I believe we wouldn't be having this meeting via this means. We would have met in person. But COVID has taught us that now we have to move from our in-person to a digital space where we would be able to include more people in our discussion and in our deliberation, in our operations. As we are on the call, there are people from other spheres of life. There are people not only in Ghana on this call, there are people from as far as we have, on call, the deputy is a managing director for the Bangladesh Commercial Bank on this call. And it's an example that if we hadn't upskilled ourselves as CGIA, if we haven't trained ourselves that well, because of the situation, we take advantage of it. Let's use electronic platforms than the physical meetings. They wouldn't have the opportunity to join us. They might not have heard about CGIA, and they wouldn't have also been able to share some ideas and stuff they have with us. So what we are saying here is that institutions in the financial service sector should invest in their employees. They should train their employees to upskill them to be able to meet the needs of the time. They should develop them such that even if the customer, your staff is leaving, you have upskilled the person to the extent that you know that whatever the customer, the staff is offering whilst with you is an exceptional service that you, the employer, is going to benefit from it. And not just leave them that, oh, we are going, so those who don't know about computers and the rest, we are laying you off. That is not a good way to manage people in this sector. Yes, we want to go digital. The future of finance is full digital. Financial institutions, we are imagining that in the future, everything in our sector will be digital. But then there are some perceived challenges that we would go through. We are going to run this digital agenda based on access and connectivity. So where we don't have constant flow of data, or we don't have data stability or availability, then we will lose out in this journey. Also, we also need to consider the cost implication for our customers or our users of the financial services that we offer. As insurance people, as brokers, as savings and loans people, as finance professionals, we have this service for our customer, and the service is going to be run on internet availability. Is it such that our customers will be able to afford it? Are we, as the financial institution, are we able to afford the required data that we will need to run our operations? We also look at the funding aspect. Most of these projects or programs and services that will be churned out going forward in our financial services ecosystem are capital intensive. We also need to consider how people are going to, or institutions are going to get access to funding. And I believe when it comes to funding, CGIA is the right place to be, because we offer the best of financial advice. We all give you the best of investment advice that you will need to guide you in your operations. Then also, after we have been able to assess our data or network issues, we have been able to assess funding, thankfully, through CGIA. What happens when our people are not willing to accept the change? How are we going to manage the people to adapt to the changes that these transformation in the financial services setup will bring to them? There is the need for all financial service providers to pull their customers along, irrespective of wherever you operate. And you do this by constantly educating your customers on the need to also move along with time. We can have seminars for our customers. We can have strategy sessions. We can have stakeholder engagements. We can even go to the villages where we operate or we find ourselves. We have one-on-one discussion with the people, or you have opinion leaders, you speak to them. And by so doing, you change the mindset of the people there. This is not a difficult thing to do for those in the capital cities or in the towns, but where you go to our villages where we also provide some level of service to them. If we want to change them overnight to this digital stuff, it is going to be very difficult. So there is the need for us to imbibe in them some training, some change, some mindset that will help them to also move along with us, and also try as much as possible to reduce the cultural challenges that hitherto we would have faced. So by way of introduction, this is what I have for the house. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Estelina. That was a very, very informative speech on reimagining the financial institutions of the future. We'd like to take questions right now. So please, if you have any question, kindly put it in the chat box and I'll read it out so we can have it answered by Mrs. Estelina. So please send in your questions if you have any. We'll take the next 5 minutes to be questions and answers. Are we sending in our questions? Okay, please, we have one question. All right, okay, so it's more of a deeper explanation. An attendant is asking that for the purpose of the students on this call, can Madam touch a bit on fintech?
Okay. So fintechs basically is financial technology firms. And so these are firms or businesses that ride on technology to provide financial services to customers. The example I gave, I think I use Jumo and Fido. So these are they are not financial institutions, but they are corporations who have technologies. So they sell these technologies out to stakeholders. And once stakeholders buy in, they are able to then go on and offer financial services to the customers. So for the layman explanation of fintech, I wouldn't want to go into details that would appear to confuse him, like you said, for the benefits of students on the course. Basically, this is what it is. So it is a financial technology institution that they ride on technology to deliver or provide services to people. And this they do through some other banks and financial institutions mainly.
Yeah, okay. So, any more questions, or are we all good? Okay, the next question is, what is the roadmap for the NBFI industry in the light of the crisis in that industry? Mrs. Estelina?
What is the roadmap for the?
Yes, please.
Hello, okay. This is on here, okay. For what, I don't get it when you say the crisis in that industry. Are you referring to the savings and loan or the microfinance industries, please?
Okay, please, the one who gave the question, could you come clear on it? Are you referring to this? Okay, the person said both.
Okay. For the roadmap for NBFIs with regards to the savings and loans and the financial, how do you call it, the microfinance, I believe we all agree that that one was a regulatory challenge they had. And also it had to do with management. So what I would say as a roadmap for them in the future is any of us who belong to that institution, we should try as much as possible for the corporate governance structures to work. One, we should comply with directives from our regulator in that space.
Okay.
For Bank of Ghana, they have a department for non-bank financial institutions where these institutions fall under. They have their own regulations as well. And whatever guidelines that are given, we shouldn't operate in isolation. We should try as much as possible to apply all of them to the core. And also sometimes, you see, each institution or each establishment has its own strength and capabilities. We shouldn't go and take on more businesses than our objects allow us to do. Once we go doing that, we are acting ultra virus and it affects us in our operations.
Okay. All right. Ahinawa, please, are you answered? You could kindly send me a reply in the chat so I confirm that. Okay. Okay. Is there any question or could we move on? Please, if you have any question, you can send it in the chat box below. You can check where you have the 3 dots. There is a chat. You go there and then you send in your questions if you have any.
I'll still be on the call should need be. So
okay.
We can save some time.
Yes, please. Thank you so much, Mrs. Estelina, for your key insight given to us. We're really grateful. So please, if you have any questions, probably it will come back to you later whilst we still have the session. You can still send it in as she can attend to you later as well. So right now, on our next item on the agenda is our panel discussion. Yes, we're going to have a panel discussion on the theme, again, the reimagining the financial institutions of the future for the future of finance. So before we do that, I would have to introduce our panel members, our fellow panel members, so we get to know who they are and what we can expect from them. So our first panel member is Mrs. Ohinuwa Sechi Beku. She is an enthusiastic and accomplished financial services expert. She has a lifelong passion to support and grow businesses that bring about change. She has previously held leadership positions in commercial and investment banking in Ghana and UK. With over a decade experience in banking and finance, Mrs. Ohinuwa has been engaged in strategy formulation, financial management and advisory, business structuring, risk management, and project management. She is currently the consulting partner with the Journeyman Group of Company. She undertakes transaction advisory, capital raising, and business structuring for both private and public sector institutions. She consulted to support the transitioning of Union Savings and Loans Company into a universal bank. She set up various systems, developed comprehensive corporate banking strategy, and innovative products and services currently being used to drive their banking business. Mrs. Ohinuwa, please, you are welcome for our discussions today. Hello, Mrs. Ohinuwa. Okay, I believe she will join us shortly. Our next panel member is Mr. Dominic Justice Isiao.
I'm on, Jennifer. Can you hear me?
Yes, please. I can hear you now. Please, you're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, so please, let's go on to our next panel member. We have Mr. Dominic Justice Isiao. He is also a charter holder of the CGIA Institute, and he also holds an executive MBA with the University of Ghana. He is a branch manager at the First Atlantic Bank and manages the entire branch comprising of the business development and banking operational activities in the areas of strategy, treasury and liquidity, profitability, customer services, operations, people, value chain management, product development, and reports. Please, Mr. Dominic Justice Isiao, you're welcome for our panel discussions. Hello, Mr. Isiao, please, you're welcome.
Hi, I'm here. How are you?
Okay, please, I'm fine, thank you. How are you too?
Great, good to be here.
Yes, please. Thank you for being part of us. So our next panel member, we have Mr. Abiodun Okewo. Mr. Abiodun is the Deputy Chief Information Officer and also Assistant General Manager of the Zenith Bank Ghana. He holds an MBA in Project Management from the University of Legon. He has a postgraduate diploma in Computer Science from the University of Lagos, Nigeria, and also a BSc in Electronics from the University of Lagos, Nigeria. He has over 25 years experience in IT services, electronic channels, product management, and project management. He has sound technical background in business, in e-business, banking, and payment systems, and has successfully transcended into strategy, project execution, and business development. He has a strong affiliation with the agency banking operators and a networking strength with most fintech players. He is a member of the Computer Association of Nigeria, and he's also a chartered global investment analyst. Please, Mr. Abiodun Okewo, you're welcome. Pardon me if I am pronouncing the name properly.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Welcome to the panel. Our last member to the panel is Mr. Richard Ajok. Mr. Ajok became a charter holder of the CGIA Institute in 2019. He has MBA in finance from the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology in 2016. He has also obtained the Master of Public Management, Public Policy and Administration from the University of Potsdam in Germany in 2012. Mr. Ajok is the General Manager of the Bursa Community Bank Limited, based in the Upper East region. Yes, and he is also a charter holder of the CGIA Institute. Please, Mr. Ajok, you are welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you all for being here tonight. And this is going to be a very, hopefully, educative discussions to help us prepare towards our financial institution restructuring to meet the future of finance. So, yes, if we are ready, we can start our discussion into the questions that I believe the attendees here are ready to listen to. So, I would like to start with Mr. Abiu, if that's fine, Mr. Abiodun. Yes, with your background, we realize that data science has become very important in the finance industry and is mostly used for the whole risk management and risk analysis. Would you say that the future of finance is actually data science?
Thank you so much. The financial world is a field of data, and the entire industry is relying on data and figures. Okay. In the past, we have been relying on the old traditional ways of solving financial issues, but now data science has come into play to be a game changer. The future of finance is a data-driven, because the data has become a very important in the financial industry. Let me just, for the benefit of those who are listening, tell us what is a data science. A data science is an interdisciplinary field that uses scientific method, processes, algorithm, and system to extract knowledge and insight from many structural and unstructured data. And when we talk about unstructured data, we talk about data from social media, data from contact centers, and so on and so forth. But when we talk about structured data, we talk about data from your financial transaction. So when you have this data coming together, how do you make an insight? How do you make an informed decision from it? So data science will enable you to be able to extract a meaningful information. And there are a lot of ways in which data science is changing the financial sector. Financial management is no longer a tedious task for companies, and the credit goes to a data science. When we talk from fraud detection to risk analysis to algorithm trading, data science is changing the way financial sector functions. So in effect, yes, the future of finance will rely on data science. Thank you.
Okay, yes, the future of finance will rely on data science. So in that effect, I think today's customers expect more from businesses which is changing the way businesses operate. So, Mr. Esiao, what would you say about how we can understand the changing demands on finance?
Good evening, everyone. Largely, when we keep talking about the finance sector, when people say finance, I mean, basically, in our part of the world, finance basically refers to banking space, the capital market space, and then, of course, the insurance space. Yeah. And I think these are, areas that we all understand. I mean, the regulators are all there, and then the respective acts are there to really explain what each of these entities entails. In saying finance, then you are actually referring to this case. Now, for you to understand, over the years, these industries have had to go through series of changes. Before some of us even came to understand this entire finance, they had their module, they have their way of operating. I mean, some of us were made to know that, back in the days, transferring money from even across regions was a bit hectic. I mean, you might have to either carry the money physically, send a messenger to drop it across, and so on and so forth. And insurance, I'm not sure it was any better than we have now. And of course, the capital markets, I don't know when stock exchange became what it is and how it started, but then over the period, we'll all understand that it has gone through series of transformations. And so then for where we are right now, it is important for us to understand that the trend is never stopping in any way, especially for we, the players in that industry, that the evolution keeps changing for all these three sectors. And today, from what we see, back in the days, you would have to send money physically across, even to the village, whether it's raining, whether you have access to means of transport or not. But these days, you just pick your phone, and of course, within a seconds, the money goes to wherever it's supposed to get to. Insurance, like Madam said in the keynote address, has also advanced over the years. In the past, it was very difficult to really get your properties or even you as an individual insured. Lately, everything is covered by insurance electronically. You pick your phone and you get your insurance bit done. Now you can buy shares with your phones and stuff like that. And so in understanding this industry, I must say that it's all about you being abreast with the system as a beneficiary of these sectors, and also as a provider of these services, being extremely innovative and then being very creative to always introduce something that is really meeting the cry of the beneficiary. And with the trend changing, I keep thinking what's going to happen in the next 10 years with this finance industry, because it looks more like if you slack in a second, you realize you are lacking behind. And so if you ask me that in understanding this industry, I must say that it's very, 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 very challenging, and it's growing. A lot of innovations are being brought up, and it's all for the benefit of the masses and for the ultimate consumer like you and I.
Okay, so in understanding it is very challenging. Okay, Mr. Richard, in the regards of still understanding the changing demands on finance, for a chief financial officer who is responsible mainly for managing the financial actions of a company, how do you think they should respond to these changing demands? Because I feel they would have that responsibility most than any other person in the financial industry. How should the financial officers respond to the changing demands on finance?
Thank you very much. If you look at technology, what I would like to know, Madam has already presented on that. That technology has now come to take the role of chief finance officers. And so hitherto, the chief finance officers were limited to being the operator. And then being an operator here means you have to play the functions of an officer, paying your taxes, managing your treasury, and anything that has to do with payment. And so that thing has now been relegated to the background because of technology. And so chief finance officers have to respond quickly to the changing needs. But then they have to do this with leadership. That's the first issue. Without effective leadership, you will not be able to adapt these technological changes to be able to drive your business. So they'll do this by using leadership to be able to drive it, even though with technology, but you need leadership in addition. Secondly, there need to be operations. If you don't understand the operations of the organization, you will not be able to drive using the technology. And so the technology may be there. You may have but if you don't have the knowledge about your operations, you will not be able to use the technology to drive those kind of operations. So chief operation officers, what they need to do, finance officer, what they need to do is to understand the operations of the organization. Once you understand, you'll be able to use technology to be able to drive the operations of the organization. The third one has to do with control. Yes, technology is good, but if you don't have control in terms of regulatory requirements, every environment, whether you like it or not, the technology may be there, but you need the regulatory compliance to be able to stay. For example, you are bringing technology and that is not accepted by the laws of a particular country, then you will not be able to use it. And so you need to have control, have the control environment to be able to drive this technology. For example, if you look at the cryptocurrencies, Ghana is not accepting it because as of now, it's not part of our laws. And so if you want to use those kind of things in Ghana, it is not allowed. So you need to have a control before you be able to drive the technology. The fourth one has to do with strategy. If you are a chief finance officer, and yet you don't have a strategy, yet the technology may be there, but you don't have a strategy to drive it. And so you need to be a strategist to be able to drive your technological products. You can develop all the nice products. You can have a developer. You can even source for expert knowledge in the area. But if you don't have a vision, if you don't have that strategy to be able to drive it, you will not be able to achieve what you want to achieve. So I would say that, yes, the first one is leadership. The second one, as I mentioned, has to do with knowing your operations. The third one has to do with having control over the environment in which you are operating. And the last one has to do with the strategy.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Richard. A follow-up question. Would you say that in view of how, with the recommended wage given, that they should, CFOs can respond to the change, the financial changes, can this also help them become innovation catalysts in the financial sectors? With the
yes, of course.
that you've given. Okay.
Yes, of course. From where I started from, by talking about previously, they used to be the operators, and as I said, payment of tax, preparing the accounts, and what have you. And then from there, they can also be stewardship, taking care of the assets and liabilities of the organization. That was just the role of the chief finance officers. But now they have moved to, because of technology, we have moved to another 2 levels. Yes, they move into strategies and be a catalyst. So I was zeroing down to be the issue of the catalyst here for the purpose of the question. The chief finance officers can stimulate and drive the timely execution of change in the financial function and the enterprise, using the power of their purse strings, and they can be selectively drive business improvement initiatives such as improving enterprise cost reduction, procurement, price execution, and other processes to improve and innovation that can add value to the company. For example, they can now use a simple technology to be able to prepare account payables, account receivables. They can also use it to be able to automate initiatives that can be able to drive their business quickly. You can prepare return on asset, clean up a lot of inefficient assets in your system. All these things are technology that can help you to drive. And that is the catalytic aspect of the role of the chief finance officer.
Okay, thank you very much. Mrs. Ohinewa.
Yes,
Hello.
Jennifer.
Yes, please. For the purpose of our non-financial attendees here, we'd like to ask you to give us the basics that we need to get started with the financial digital technologies. The basics that we need as we are all preparing for the future of finance. Get started with the financial digital technologies.
Okay, so 3 keywords that I take from your question.
Okay.
And it's financial, it's digital, and it's technology.
Yeah.
And I also see basics. So I'll try and break it down so that we can have a better understanding. So, I mean, I mentioned digital, financial, and technology. So digital finance itself is a term that is used to describe the impact of new technologies on the financial services industry. And it includes a variety of products, application, processes, business models that have transformed the traditional way of providing banking and financial services. Okay, so that is digital finance. Now, if you go to financial technology, which we now all term Fintech, is used to describe how new technologies that seek to improve and automate the delivery and use of financial services. Okay, so we are looking at new technologies that are used to improve and automate the delivery and use of financial services. So at its core, Fintech is used to help companies, business owners, consumers better manage their financial operations, processes, and their lives. And it's done by utilizing specialized software and algorithms that are used on computers and smartphones. Okay, when fintechs emerged in the 21st century, the term was used to apply to technology employed at the back end system of established financial institutions. Now, this has shifted to a more consumer-oriented definition. Fintechs now include sectors and industries such as education, retail banking. They are used in fundraising, they are used in nonprofits, they are used in investment banking, to name but a few. Now, if you're looking at digital financial services, you're actually looking at the giver of the service and then the receiver of the service. So if you're looking at the basic tools, then you probably would have to look at it from the point of view of the giver. And with the giver, because they are dealing with large volumes of data, that's why they have to develop sophisticated softwares, okay? And that means plugging into a fintech's API or working with an institution that provides a software. So you need to actually have a software because of the volumes of data, the different products, the transactions and all of that. You need a sophisticated software to be able to provide that service. Now on the receiver side, that is where you would need the basic tools and you would need a computer or a phone to be able to do it. So on the giver side, it's more sophisticated because of the volumes of information, the volumes of data that they need to keep. But on the receiver side, the basic tool that you need to be able to get started or to be able to use the digital financial services or be able to be part of the digital ecosystem is a basic phone or a normal computer. Okay.
So basically, it doesn't require any other complex. So
on the giver side,
on the receiver
side, no, you don't require any complex. But I mean, there are certain applications that you just have to download and put it on your phone, and you can be able to do transaction. But if you are looking at financial inclusion and also including rural folks, all they need to do is to send money, receive money, make transactions over the phone, and what they need really is just a basic phone.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Abiodun, we'd like you to give us what the digital transformation would mean for finance team. I think Mrs. Ahinma gave us what it means for basic non-finance people, but for finance team, expert finance teams, what should that mean for them, digital transformation?
Okay, thank you so much. First and foremost, technology is an enabler of business. And technology is the foundation of digital transformation. Technology is no longer a nice to have, but a must to have for financial industry. So all finance institutions must devote or must allocate resources to drive digital transformation in their institutions. Digital transformation is a key driver for financial services. It is all about delivering innovative solutions with speed and agility, while still managing the reality of risk. Because in every digital transformation, there is an element of risk. So you have to be able to manage your risk. What is a digital transformation? A digital transformation is a process of using digital technologies to create new or modifying existing business process, culture, and customer experiences to meet changing business and market requirements. Technology is changing how finance team operates, and every organization needs to improve by moving from paper-based to an automated digital solutions. Digital transformations will help financial services companies to improve their customer experiences in so many ways. By attracting new customers, by ensuring that you get closer to your customer. Because just like the first speaker said, that COVID has really accelerated this digital transformation. A lot of financial institutions were surprised. And she says something that it's either you innovate or you are left behind. So every financial institution should ensure that all their digital channels are functioning. And when we talk about digital transformation, there are a lot of technologies that you can use to drive digital transformations. You have a lot of mobile wallets, digital payments. There are technologies that are involved in these digital transformations, like artificial intelligence, robotic process automation, blockchain technology, just like the speakers have said. So in all these things, there are great benefits that digital transformations we have on finance. Number one, it will enable you to lower your costs. Number two, it will increase your accuracy, because so many things that we are doing manually these days can be done with a digital innovations, which will remove all the errors. Number three, it will improve your speed and it will make your business more efficient. So finance team must ensure that they embrace digital transformations in all their transactions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So, Mr. Abiodun, I would like you to, based on the digital transformation and how it relates with fintech, I think in 2021, fintech has advanced. So there has been, maybe not on our market yet, but hopefully, since this is a whole future of finance, it will be something that will be reflected on the Ghanaian markets. But how will trade automation and the trade performance analytics with the AI machine learning impact trading professionals?
Thank you. Fintech technology, as we know, has transformed and innovated financial services.
Yeah.
Through the new technologies that have fit the customer's needs with the help of automations. So many financial institutions have different channels of interacting with their customers. Today, customers can do every financial transaction online without visiting the financial institutions, like opening of accounts, taking of loan, so many beautiful innovations that have been done. Fintech has been undergoing a continued evolution in the landscape of investment management. You talk about artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is an area of computer science which focuses on creating intelligent machines that functions like humans. For example, artificial intelligence enables you to take decisions, planning, and speech recognitions. So for some of these trade automations, when you introduce artificial intelligence into your transactions, you are able to get a quick decisions on your trade on your trade things that you are doing. You are able to make an informed judgment because these artificial technologies, like any other machine language, we are able to do a data analysis that we automate analytic model building on algorithm, which enable you to, have an insight on your transactions. So, and there's so many ways these technologies are going these ways. It will drive your operational agility and efficiency. AI in finance will drive the operational efficiency in the area of ranging from risk management and trading to underwriting and claims. Number two, it will improve your business outcomes. In the areas of financial record keeping, you can use blockchain and distributed ledger technologies augmented the AI adoption by creating new ways to record and track and store transactions for financial assets. Number three, with the artificial intelligence, you can have a meaningful customer insight. So you'll be able to see what your customers needs in terms of the product, and then you can be able to customize the products to meet their need. So as fintech industry, they were able to drive these trade innovations, and even in trade performance analysis, when you introduce artificial intelligence, you'll be able to monitor your performance. You can see online what is going on within your trade. You don't need to even go to the financial institutions to see how your trading is going on. You have a lot of mobile apps that are able to see the performance of your investment. So fintech will continue to innovate, and it will be able to push out new products within the market. And by so doing, our trade automations and trade performance analytics will improve tremendously. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Abiodun. Mrs. Ohinowa.
Yes, Gifty.
Yes, please.
Yes, Jennifer.
Yes, on the topic of the fintech, can you give us the opportunities that it offers in the truly single digital financial services market?
Okay, so with can I get your question again?
Yes, please.
I lost you.
The opportunities that the fintech offer in terms of developing a single digital financial services market.
Okay, so I mentioned that digital finance is employing technology to be able to give a service. Now, if you look at, I also mentioned that there's the giver and the service side, and some of the opportunities that come with this include some of the benefits that I have identified include the way that digital financial service enabled by fintech it has the potential to lower cost, and it also has the potential to increase speed. There's also security and transparency, and it allows for more tailored financial services that serve the poor at scale. So DFIs are characterized by low marginal costs and greater transparency, and they can respond to both the supply side barrier to access financial service, such as high operating cost, limited competition, as well as the demand side barrier, including volatile and small income for the poor, or lack of ID, because we know that in the rural areas, some of the basic KYC that they need to have to be able to access maybe digital financial services, the ID part. And if you're using Fintech, there's the need to ensure that those parts, that segment of the market, you are able to provide your own set of KYC to be able to get them to be part of the system. And so mobile money has also leveraged high mobile phones penetration into many developing countries. And today there are over 850 million registered mobile accounts. So there's also the job creation part. That is also an opportunity in the fintech space. And also, we also know that COVID has also amplified the benefit of expanding DFS service, because it significantly reduces the need for physical contact in retail and financial transactions. And so looking at the areas where there's low cost, I'm looking at areas where there's financial inclusion, because you're able to get more people into the space. There's also less contact, so you are able to do your transactions faster at your own convenience, and also the security issues that come with having to keep your money on your mobile wallet instead of having to carry money around. So these are some of the benefits that I think that the digital sector is providing for the economy. And also, I mentioned the financial inclusion part. We are looking at the expansion of financial service to the non-financial sector, as I mentioned, and the expansion of basic service to individuals in developing world who already own the mobile phone. So if you have a mobile phone, then you are able to be part of the service. Two things that I've also realized, that digital finance has the potential to offer affordability, convenient and secure banking. I mentioned it, and this is to the poor in most developing countries. I also have this point that digital finance promises to boost domestic products of digitalized economies. It provides convenience access to diverse range of financial products and services for individuals, as well as small, medium, and large business. And then they can boost aggregate expenditure by improving GDP levels. Okay, so in a way, it has its own economic and the micro sector benefits, and also the individual benefits that we get from using, for being part of this digital transformation.
Yes, thank you very much. So I would like to ask Mr. Richard, in view of us know the opportunities that the fintech industry offers, what are the challenges that we could expect?
Yeah, thank you. Madam, I've said it all. Those are the opportunities, the benefits.
Yeah.
Yet again, there are also challenges that is confronting the fintech industry. And one of them have to do with security issues and data privacy. Of late, cybersecurity is an issue, it's a national issue, it's a global issue. And so people are so skeptical with the kind of technology that is being deployed. And so people are not sure of their data being secured. And again, people are also afraid of their system being hacked. And so they move into the technology with a reservation. So security issues is a challenge in this case. We also have a big data and integration issue. You may have the data all right, but how you bring an external technology to come and integrate into your data is a challenge. And so you might not be able to make good use of the data, the vast data that you have. So integration is an issue. Again, compliance with government regulations. Yes, this fintech, when you would deploy them, they may have to have some backing in terms of regulations. Government accepting it as part of a registered business to be able to run in the country. And so compliance with government regulation is a challenge. It's a new technology, and so it's yet coming into existence so far as Ghana is concerned. And so there's lack of expert in the area. And so people are always thinking, if I deploy this technology and there's a problem, who can I contact for support? And so there's that kind of fear going into it. So the lack of mobile and tech expert is a challenge. Again, there's also the issue of growth issue and effective marketing to acquire customers. Yes, you can deploy it and it's working all right, but how you'll be able to use it to be able to market for people to buy into the idea, for the customers to accept, the acceptability of the customer is also a challenge. You have to do a lot of work, which will bring cost to be able to get people on board, to be able to accept that, those particular technologies. The issue of user retention and user experience issues are also there. Yes, they may have they will use it, and how you'll be able to retain them using those technologies is a challenge. Their experience involve how you'll be able to get the system being used, because there's no experience. It's a new kind of concept that is coming on board. So there's nobody with experience to be able to tell that, oh, I've benefited from it and it's good. So you have to find it difficult to be able to penetrate into the market. So for me, these are some of the challenges that we are confronted with so far as the fintech companies are concerned, so far as Ghana is concerned now.
Yes, thank you very much. So we'd like to know from Mr. Isiao that talking about fintech, basically it's a combination of finance and technology, or finance and IT. What are the common features that we can say that are key in managing the financial risks and the IT risks?
Well, I think from the discussions shoot so far, the finance risk and the IT risk basically leverages on management of customer, management of service, and of course, management of products. And basically for the finance risk and IT risk, they are all targeted and well managed with the intention of maximizing profits and growth for, the finance industry. Obviously, a financial institution would want to invest heavily on managing this finance risk and IT risk. What would be the take out of all this is basically to grow and of course to maximize its profit. Now, what is also common among all these, basically the finance risk and the IT risk, as you mentioned, is also to facilitate the business of the organizations. And for our kind of sub-region, I feel that the finance risk and IT risk are well implemented with a common goal of facilitating international trade. That is top of my mind. I feel that from where we sit, interfacing with the international environment, if your finance risk strategies and your IT risk management is not robust, then you're interfacing with the international space. For us in Africa, we have the commodities. But again, for us to leverage on our international trade with these commodities, it goes more beyond just having the cocoa and the cashew and the stuff. You want to export these things to the international environment where all kinds of fake players and genuine players are scavenging for your precious commodity. And so what comes into play is your mitigating factors on your finance risk and then of course on your IT space. Because if you want to trade with people in China, these days, anybody comes out as a business importer in China who wants to import from you. But then if your infrastructure, as far as IT and finance procedures are not robust enough, then of course you stand a chance of losing so much as far as this trade bit is concerned. Now, for finance and IT risk, I should also say that they are all targeted at enhancing the corporate body's operational liquidity and even risk strategies. So then with all this put in place, then of course, you can tell that yes, indeed, your finance procedure is robust enough. What I'm basically saying is that finance risk and IT risk work hand in hand to facilitate profits, growth, international trade, deepens operations, liquidity management, and even credit management. And so, of course, I mean, somebody approaches you that a person wants to go into business with you. I mean, after assessing your internal procedures, what is more important to you also is your model of operations, your liquidity position, and then of course your credit modus of operandi. All these things are influenced by your IT systems in place, just like the other panel members have said. Gone are the days that you may have to walk to somebody's house to do KYC. You may have to walk to the person's place of work. You may have to take the person's, somebody will say, you even need to draw my blood before you sign off my KYC. I mean, lately, with the introduction of IT, we don't need to go into all these things. And so if your IT models are strong enough, then of course, it deepens your finance operations. And then these ultimate features I have mentioned comes into play. And so then if you ask me, I mean, that is what I understand as far as this industry, this finance industry is concerned.
Okay, I think that is a lot. That's basically a lot that we needed to know. It means that the whole finance, I mean, IT coming into play to finance now doesn't really change, doesn't really bring a lot more problems. It basically makes finance a bit more better than it would have been on its own. We'd like to take 2 more questions and then we'll be done with our panel discussion. So I'd like to ask this to Mr. Richard. We've been talking a lot about the systems. Now let's talk about the people. How can we make sure that we get the right skills at the right time for the right purpose to enhance organizational talent in the financial sectors?
Thank you. To get the right skills at the right time for the right purpose to enhance organizational talent, for me, I think one, you need to have to develop employee development plan, and that's succession planning. Most of the organization, most of the people who are working there they are of age. They lack this kind of new technologies to employ. So if you have the right set of people, you look for talent, new talents, to be able to train them to be able to take over from the old generation. Then you have a succession planning in place to be able to take over from those who are currently in the operational areas. The other one has to do, you have to collaborate with the fintechs. We don't have the skills now to be able to employ those things. What can you do? The best you can do is to partner them, to let them integrate their system for you to be able to get opportunity to learn. That is where you can have a new talent at the right time and at the right skills. Otherwise, you are sitting there, are lacking knowledge, and yet you are not prepared to collaborate. But when you collaborate with the fintechs, they are able to deploy these technologies. You have opportunity of learning, and then you can have the right talents to be able to support. Again, you can establish a department purposely for developing technologies. And this department, when you develop and you don't even have the personnel or the right expertise, you can actually outsource from those companies to be able to have a full department, even though to come with a cost. But it is important that once technology is the future of finance, it's better to have a department that you can do product development by using technology. You'll be able to automate your system using technology. And the only way you can do that is to have an expert knowledge in the area. So I think having an expert in the area, having a department to be able to spearhead those product development will be able to help you to have the right skills the right personnel to be able to champion the organizational needs.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Richard. Our last question, to drive enterprise innovation, Mrs. Wahinowa, I would like you to give us the insight on this. How do we enable agility and profitability in enterprise innovation?
Okay, Jennifer, the world is changing. Okay, the world around us is changing, and it's changing very fast. And barriers to entry in all but just the niche and upcoming market are really down to nothing. And we are looking at how can businesses drive growth and profitability in such an environment. Whilst everyone recognizes that innovation is a catalyst for growth, not many businesses have been able to drive innovation to maximize their profits. Agility and innovation, they need a mix of science, art, passion, and organizations that provide that are able to succeed. Business agility simply means being nimble and having the ability to respond effectively in real time and to business opportunities. And corporations that embrace startup methodologies and take up risk and create new ideas through effective collaboration, as Richard said, infusing agility, which is responding fast to the issues around us in organizations. It's easier said than done. We know that agility, we can all talk about all the things, responding easily. I mean, it's easier said than done. But we know that innovation is not just about new ideas. It's also about way of applying these new ideas. And so if you are able to fuse innovating and agility to allow companies to leverage on their existing processes and existing people and technology and information to quickly create a way to compete and introduce new products and service. So you are looking at existing processes, you are looking at existing people, you are looking at existing technologies. How can you make it responsive to the business environment? If you're able to do that in an effective way, it is going to drive profitability for the company. Okay, so I believe that whatever processes are there, even if it's some form of technology, you need to be able to add on, to be able to create, to be able to respond to the need of our customers. Now, the needs are very varied. Customers have become very sophisticated, and customer demands are also very high. Our ability to respond to those issues quickly is what will drive profit, and technology is a way to do that. And so that is what I really think. If you're able to leverage on existing processes and improve the technology that we already have, it is a sure way to provide profits and to increase the profitability in any existing enterprise.
Okay, great. So we have to leverage on technology. That will be the end of the questions for the panel discussions. If you have any question, you can send it in the chat and the panel members can answer them for you. Please type in your questions at the chat and the panel members will answer them for you. Send in your questions if you have any. Okay, giving you 2 minutes. If there are no questions, then we'll proceed with the webinar.
Okay. All right, Jennifer.
Hi, Gifty.
Yes, that was a very insightful and educative session.
Yes.
I mean, moderated by you. We want to say a very big thank you to all the panelists, Henewa, Dominic, Abia June, we're talking about Richard, and then of course the one that gave us our keynote presentation, Hester Lena. I mean, exactly, we've just given you a taste of what it looks like to become a CGI charter holder, because bear in mind, every one of those people who spoke have the CGI letters to their name, meaning that they are all charter holders of the CGI. And so these are the people who are driving the conversation of the future. And I believe that this is the body, the professional body you would want to associate yourselves with. And so if you are on here with us today and you are not yet a CGI member, you would want to take advantage of today's summit. Visit www.cgiainstitute.org and then join us officially. If you still have questions, we could still answer them once we are done. You could still reach out to us, the CGIA officials in the Ghana office. You could actually come here, we could have a whole conversation. Once again, I would want to say a very big thank you to all the panelists, and then to you, our moderator, Jennifer. You did a brilliant job. Thank you. To the speakers, all your thoughts, your insights, they've been well noted. I'm sure that our participants have been well served by you, and want to say thank you. We are just about ending. I'll just give a few announcements and then we'll call it a night. And so, like I mentioned earlier, if you're not yet part of the CGI, please do well to be a part of it. I would also say that the CGI has a media production called the FI Sense, Finance and Investment Sense, which actually focuses on deals. It focuses on hedge funds, focuses on venture capital, and then private equity. You could actually download the app, whether you could download it on App Store, you could also download it on Google, the Google app, you could actually download it from there too. So those who are iOS users are well served, and then those who are Android users too can take advantage of that. It offers you all the comprehensive global finance and investment news, insights, and analysis you would want to know happening all around the world. Apart from that, I would say that if you are not yet part of the network in Ghana, you should also take advantage and then be a part of the network. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to bring our summit to a close. Obviously, it has been a very successful one. I've seen most of the participants have joined till we have ended, and want to say a very big thank you. Without you, we couldn't have held it today. And to our speakers, I want to say you're wonderful, the most brilliant people actually on the planet right now when it comes to finance and investment. Moderator Jennifer, thank you so much. Everybody, do enjoy your evening. Goodbye.
Thank you, Gifty. Good night.
Good night. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Night.
Good night. Hey.